National Horse Show.
I'm going to show you a little bit of Kentucky Horse Park before we head over to the Hunter Horse Show and give you a little bit of an insight of going around. I'd love to know in the comments, have you ever been to the Kentucky Horse Park before? There's a lot of different things that you can check out, and it was really neat for me to go back to this covered arena area. Kind of cool to see it, totally not in use or doing anything right now. But this is where I have done the thoroughbred makeovers in the past. So lots of great memories here of showing my own horses and bringing home many champion titles, but a lot of fun and really interesting to see it not happening, nothing going on there. Instead, the Kentucky Horse Park is so huge that they have all of these different warm-up arenas that are absolutely massive, and there are lots of different rings that people can ride in and warm up in. So we can see lots of people taking part and warming up their horses. They're doing some grooming in one of the other rings. The Kentucky Horse Park is huge. There is an entire eventing area with cross-country complexes. There's a whole dressage area with lots of different arenas that people can ride in out there. And then this is more over in the Hunter Jumper area. This would be the sign-in area where people can go. So there's a lot to check out. And here are some of the wash stalls. So there's some different areas like the outdoor stalls over here with the outdoor wash bays. They also have some indoor barns that have that are all covered. They've also got these nice water refillable stations. They also have covered tent areas where people go for lunging, and then have covered wash bays as well. So there's a lot of different places, lots of different barns. The Kentucky Horse Park, I'm not even sure how many stalls they have, but a lot. And part of having these different horse shows is they have different vendors. And there was this pretty cool place that had these very light and movable obstacles. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect because I love to have obstacles to take for my freestyles, whether it's with Mustangs or for my thoroughbreds or my expos that I do. So I totally bought a couple different things from this place to have that purple little water box as well as the little flower things on the go. Pretty nice to see people out grazing their horses on the grass and just kind of chilling with them. So lots of people just loving on their horses, and the horse park is so huge that people can roam around and take their horses out beyond the arenas of where the riding is. And then as we get closer to the Alltech Arena, they have another indoor stabling area over here and an entire different huge indoor arena that's all covered. So this would be the bigger stadium area. The covered arena area is a little bit smaller. You can see these barns are huge. There's multiple barns, and when you look down the aisles, there's so many. And inside, it's just massive. And here's a little look at coming in the arena when they're announcing the winner of a class, going out with the whole red carpet and everything with the Jumbotron screen. You can see it set up for the beautiful Hunter show. And it's a show that runs over several days, offering different classes they do, whether it's flat classes or jumping classes. And I think it's a little bit of a shame that there aren't more people out watching the horse show, because it's absolutely phenomenal to be there in that atmosphere, see the horses performing and seeing what's going on. Now, they probably do have different levels of attendance depending on, are you there on a Saturday or a weekday? And I was there on a weekday. That was a little look at the warm-up arena. And then here's a little look at what it's like between the warm-up arena and the actual ring. You can actually watch yourself on TV, like watch what's going on. So that way you know what's going on in the ring before you head in. Here's a little look at them having the winners come by. So they walk into the ring for their ribbons. So very different from, let's say, a show jumping class where people usually come in and get the ribbons handed to them or put on their horses and then they go for a victory gallop. The Hunter world, very different, coming in, walking their horses with their ribbons, which is pretty interesting to see, a very different thing. And you get to see the horses without their saddles on as well. But overall, what I love about the Hunter competition is you see in the Hunter world a lot of horses that are really calm and pleasurable. They have to be able to jump these big fences, but at the same time, they need to be really calm and relaxed and have flowing strides. So you see a lot of horses that look to be in really great condition and great shape, but as well as being really nice to handle horses. Some other disciplines, which can be more exciting to watch, the horses can seem to be a little bit fiery, but look at all these horses. They just like, look, dote, 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 just really happy and pleasurable to be around. And the ring looks absolutely stunning. Here is the winner of the class. So it's not a victory lap, it is a victory walk that they are doing across the arena to come on out as the class winner, to come on out. A very different atmosphere. I would love to see in the comments, are you a show jumping person or are you a hunter person? Which kind of rounds do you prefer to watch? But I'm going to share with you a couple hunter rounds so you can see a little bit of what the hunter competition is all about. So here is one rider coming around, and they have these inside turns that they're doing. So it's not always necessarily a full line of fences to another line of fences. They do sometimes test their ability to make what's called a rollback or an inside turn, and coming around to do the different fences here, both over verticals and oxers. And I love the size of fences because it's a respectable size fence where you're like, okay, you have to be balanced and have a good amount of athleticism to do a course of this height. And yet it's not crazy high that this would be too much for a lot of horses to be able to do. That horse ended up pulling the rail on that particular fence. And what's interesting about hunters is that a horse can knock a rail and they can still actually place quite well, because it's not like in show jumping where if you knock over a fence, you get faults added to your score at like a set prescribed amount. Horses are also judged on their pace going to the fences, whether they're centered over the fence, their form over the fence. So they get scored on the takeoff, the in-air time, the landing. All of those pieces are factored into what they're doing. And of course, getting flying lead changes is a non-negotiable. You need to be able to ride along the correct lead. So when we're watching the horse's legs going, right now it'd be on the left lead. You can see the left legs are coming forward first. So if the horse were to land on the wrong lead, it's not the end of the world as long as you make a lead change and you continue on the correct lead. So that's one of the really important things. Whereas let's say you were in jumpers, usually a horse is going to fix their canter lead as they're going around because they want to be balanced. But if your horse ended up doing what's called a counter canter, meaning having the wrong legs going forward at the same time, for example, they could be on the right lead as they're going left, they still could get to the jump and go over it and it doesn't affect them at all. So show jumping, or what's often called jumpers, they are scored primarily on just whether or not they leave all the jumps up and if they have a refusal where they actually stop. There's the judge area up there where you can see everybody looking down and judging these hunters. And in the show jumping world, they have what are called clear rounds where you need to just jump all the fences correctly, like not knocking over any poles or refusing. And then you go in for a jump off where it's the fastest time that was also clear, meaning no rails down and no refusals, and the fastest time wins. In hunter, time is not a factor at all. It's not based on how quickly you go. It's about your way of going. You want your horse to look very pleasurable, look very easy to ride. And as they're coming around, they want to take the strides to the fence where the horse gets beautiful striding. So a horse did a lead change. So now it's on the right lead as they're coming around. And they're making their turn to the next fence. They have combination fences like here where the horse just does 2 strides between the jump. So similar to in jumpers where you can have several jumps in a row with a set amount of distance, they have that in hunters as well. And here making changes of direction while going over the jumps, all pretty typical. And this is just hanging out behind the showgrounds. So let me know what you think of the National Hunter Horse Show.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.